Lindsay Rios. Was I say that correctly? Lindsay
Yeah.
Rios.
You
Welcome
did
to
it.
my world. Welcome to Mutual Connections. What's up, friend?
I've been dreading this all day.
I bet. Well, I mean, we had a hell of a takeoff to our relationship, so it only seems fitting that this would be the worst part of your day.
Oh, God. But I was like, well, I should just get it over with, though, instead
Yeah.
of delaying it.
Dude, quick, easy. You'll walk away unscathed, maybe a couple bruises, a little hurt ego, if you will, but I think we'll be chill. I think we'll be fine.
I think it'll be all right.
Yeah. What's up, dude? What are you up to today?
Let's see. Well, I had a great chat just now with my friend Joe Fontana.
I missed a meeting with him earlier in the week, dude. I felt so bad. Because look, man, when you reschedule, it doesn't always like
Oh, yeah, it doesn't
go
always, I
on
know.
to your thing. And then he
Yeah.
LinkedIn messaged me and I was like, bro, if I would have known. But shout out to our boy Joe Fontana.
See,
I
you
am
do
supposed to.
no-show meetings.
Oh, yeah.
So you totally have no-showed me.
No, wait a minute. First of all, that's not true. That's the reason that we're friends. So look, do you want to tell a story or you want me to tell? You tell the story. You tell a story how we landed ourselves in this
I
predicament.
thought it was so good. I told my husband, and he actually thought it was funny too, because no one else thinks I'm funny, by the way, like in real life. So you did a post about. It was a very nice. It was a good post. It was a useful post.
I thought it was.
Yeah, and there I went. Are we allowed to swear on this podcast?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, okay. Here I went and just like fucked around on your podcast or on your post because I don't know what I don't know why I was feeling like that day. So it was basically explaining like if you're going to have meeting titles, you really need to name them well, because at this point a lot of us look at a meeting and go, I don't know why I'm meeting this person. I don't know what it's about. And then you're more likely to reschedule it or not want to do it anymore. So I just decided to come in out of nowhere and say like, is this why you've been no-showing all of our meetings? You know, and you were just like, oh, like I would never, or something like that.
Well, we had exchanged a little bit of banter. I didn't realize the depths of we're in like the same very tight circle. I guess it just didn't dawn on me. And so I was trying to be respectful. And when I saw that, I was like, bro, no. I know you. Like, I wouldn't just no-show our meeting. Like, come on, dude.
Right. But then I said, you were like, I would never. And I was like, oh, so you just dislike me or you just hate me or whatever I said, right? So much so, I came in so out of nowhere that I actually had you for, I think, for a hot second, you go and message me like, oh my God.
Dude, I did.
Have I actually?
I had to jump to the DMs like, hey, look, are you fucking with me right now? Or like, dude, I promise you I wouldn't have just skipped on a meeting, bro. God. So, and then now we're here. Long overdue. I just met you. Like, we had that exchange maybe a week and a half ago, but the lineology of how long we've really known each other, this is long overdue. So, yeah, thanks for coming to hang out. You're not funny, by the way. I really was. Like, there's a small space of people where I'd be like, no, bro, I would have totally met with that person. You could have sent me a rubbish subject line header. Like, I still would have attended, you know?
And you still would have.
Yeah.
A poopy one?
A poopy. Well, that's what I said. I would have expected that. So that's hilarious.
Yeah. I don't think I'm funny either, but people keep saying that to me on LinkedIn.
Do they?
They do.
That's
they actually
wild.
do. I know. It's really strange. Like literally someone tagged me like last week. You know those posts that people keep doing about who should I follow?
You got to tag 5 people and it's a cloud. I won't lie. I've done that before, so I can't.
No, it's not that I haven't. One of my favorite things to do is shout people out. Yeah. Like that's why I'll do it often. One of my favorite things to do is when there's just some stupid idiot and all he wants to do is just post about a bunch of other dudes that are fantastic. And then I'm like, let me post about some other really amazing humans, then none of them are going to be dudes.
Yeah.
But this one was a guy asking specifically for the most hilarious people. Yeah, and this guy's like Lindsay Rios, and then he was just like, she's an amazing marketer and she's hilarious. And I was just like, first of all, I'm a terrible marketer.
Yeah, what do you?
And I'm really not funny. I mean, my mom, you can ask her, because I told her a couple years ago when I first started being active on LinkedIn, you know, people seem to think I'm funny, and she was like, that's weird, you're not funny. So
that is funny. You know, it's funny because look, like I'll talk smack about you all day, but I can earnestly like your humor is so quick and dry, even going back to like you commenting on my post. And I think that that type of sequence, gosh, this might be the only nice thing I say, but I mean, you are funny. It's funny.
Oh,
It's
this
funny
is
content.
recorded. This is a
I
podcast. People are
mean,
gonna hear that.
I look, I have editing control, so I can be wise about what I keep and what I clip out. But yeah, dude, God, you're funny. Look, I did a little bit of research on you, and so if you'll allow me, here's a couple of things that I've determined that you and your family have unhealthy obsessions with, and then we'll just kind of go down the line. That feels like a good place to start, right?
Oh my god. You found me on Instagram. So this is not just LinkedIn
Bro,
research.
if y'all aren't following Lindsay Rios on Instagram, dude, you are not even scratching the surface of the lunacy and chaos that is her life, okay? And so, rightfully so, some of these things are going to resonate with you, all right?
Oh my god, you're so okay. Can't
Lindsay
wait.
Rios, family or personal, very first unhealthy obsession, Goya beans, man. The green pigeon peas, right? What are you
Con
doing?
dule.
What are you doing?
It's
Okay, but look, maybe 1 or 2 or 3 cans max. I'm pretty sure that you showed an arsenal of double digits of
I know.
these
I
cans
think it was like 17.
in your pantry. Like, what are we
Look,
doing, man?
look, my husband has ADHD,
Okay.
okay? And he's the one who bought them. So now you have a window into what the prison that I am in of massive quantities of hyper fixations.
Okay.
But to be just a little fair, but don't tell him. They can be really difficult to find. So
Okay.
it was for a while where we could actually just get them at our Safeway and they'd be there. And then one day they just stopped having them. And then we, travel. And or if we found them, they were like ridiculously expensive. And we make arroz con condores all the time.
Yeah.
So we just like having it on hand. So then he went and he found it on like like Amazon has like the food, like
Oh yeah, and you could do like a wholesale type of purchase as well, like a Costco bundle thing.
that's
Oh, okay.
how it happened. And would you believe that there's probably only a few left?
Dang, dang. Well, no, I mean, I would believe it. The heritage of your family. I'm not going to try to repronounce that meal that you guys continuously make. I'm not going to pretend to know
I
what
could
it
say it
is.
like a white person. Arroz
A
con gandules.
rose con
Gandules.
gondole. You know what? I'm just gonna the
It's
Lindsay
rice
meal.
with pigeon peas.
The
That's literally all it is.
it's the Lindsay Rios meal. No, but I get it. Look, I have Italian family, so I would say the same thing happens with me like trying to get grated Parmesan cheese. You're just at the store, you're like, do we have it? Do we not have it? Well, we probably use it. And so my fridge is probably stocked up with at least 3 when 1 is really all you need. So,
I have a
okay,
lot.
keeping on the food and then we'll pivot. But another unhealthy obsession inside of the Rios household, I bet you know what this one is. Peaches. What are you doing with all those peaches, Lindsay?
Again,
Peaches go bad. Nobody's
my
eating that many
husband.
peaches.
It's my
I I told you,
if I
bro.
could if I could easily bring you with me, we would go downstairs and I would show you how many peaches are in there right now. So this family really loves its produce, fruit and vegetables.
I'm with
So,
it.
like, love it. It's great. But again, my husband with the quantities, it's just
You know what?
it's
I vibe with that. I vibe with that. I like a man that gets after it. He knows what he wants. And so I'm not just gonna like I do the same thing with t-shirts. If I find a t-shirt where it
don't get me
fits, okay, good.
started.
Man, is your husband if when you're ready to switch places, I feel like we're driving towards I might vibe a little bit better with him on this call. Yeah.
Like 100%. He really but to be fair, not a single one of those peaches went bad.
You gotta
Like,
hustle. Peaches go bad. You gotta hustle.
you gotta
So
eat them. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, but here's the thing. He likes them not ripe.
Okay.
Like,
Oh,
he
well,
likes
they
them when they're
are a
all
little bit
crunchy.
easier to like bite into. Yeah.
I don't like them like that. So they last longer
Mm.
because he gets them when they're like that. So he'll take like 1 to 2 a day easily to work and eat them.
Oh man.
And then I'll usually cut up like 1 to 2 of them, like for the kids.
Okay.
And I made an epic cobbler out of them the last weekend, of which there was literally no leftovers. I mean,
No, I'm
the
with it.
you know
I'm with it.
yeah,
So I will stand. You gave some really valid excuses for just an astronomical amount of a single item food that lands in your
yeah.
pantry or your fridge, but I'm still gonna keep it on. That's unhealthy. Other people aren't doing that. Unhealthy obsession, if you will. Food-wise, probably phenomenally healthy, and so can't shake a stick at that. Third unhealthy obsession that I learned about my friend Lindsay Rios, some of it is on display right now, currently, but
Okay.
dyeing your I must have seen 12 different hair colors in the span of 2 just long scrolls on both your Instagram and your LinkedIn page. It can't be healthy for your hair. I don't know anything about the salon world. Unhealthy obsession. Talk to me about that.
Okay, first of all, you can see my hair right now.
I can
It
see it.
looks phenomenal.
I mean, look, the pink is a great, and you have the fade, and I'm not saying the dye job is bad. You're
No,
very
I mean
good.
health-wise. It's very healthy.
Okay, well, I'm a man, so I don't have the eye for determining if it's healthy, but it looks healthy.
Well, here's why. My hairstylist, who I've been seeing for I don't really want to say because it makes me old, but whatever. Over 20 years.
Dang,
25.
get it.
Getting there. She's wonderful. She's amazing. Okay. And so she would never do anything to someone's hair if it was going to damage it. So
Yeah.
she knows how to do it the right way. She's warned me before, let's maybe not do all that stuff. She also obviously knows my hair very, very well. But I don't know why she hasn't fired me as a client because it's not as if like right now it's faded a lot. There's pink in it, but it was really actually more of like this like pink to red thing. And then when I go in next, it's not like I go, let's play into what's already in there. You know,
Yeah.
let's be easy. No, I'll be like, I would like turquoise hair now.
That's
Sure.
bonkers. That's
But I
nobody
only
does
actually
that,
see her twice,
Lindsay.
maybe 3 times a year. So
Nobody does that.
by the time I go, she does such a great job. It fades in such a great way that I don't actually get my hair done or processed that often. And then
Okay.
I'm very good at taking care of it in between and doing all the right things. So it's actually my hair is really, really healthy. But I'm also lucky I have very resilient hair genetically, if you will, as it is too. So it can handle more than some other people's hair could handle.
Yeah. Okay. Look, again, valid. And before we go on, and look, I'm not trying to continuously say nice things, but I like that the fade kind of makes it seem a little bit more authentic. You know what I mean? Like it's just like a genuine rise in color rather than some like stark, like I'm sure when you first go turquoise or when you first go like red to pink, sometimes it's very poppy, I would imagine.
Yeah, it depends. I mean, the thing that people don't realize about when you're dyeing your hair, anything, even if it's more natural colors, like you don't always know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Sometimes it comes out different. And so for me, like there was a time where it was not meant to be pink at all. Something happened and it was like it was like a little more concentrated than the pink on the ends, but it was my whole hair and I had a very short, adorable haircut and it looked great. Like, but she was like, when she was washing out and she goes, why is it so pink? Like, and I went, I don't worry about it.
Yeah.
Like, it's
Don't
me,
worry.
right?
We'll settle in. I love it. I love it. Before I get to the next one, I want to segue just a little bit. Were you like, let's go back to Lindsay, high school, maybe early college. Were you like emo? Like, did you listen to rock music? Like, what was on your iPod at the time?
I mean, we can go further back. We can go to middle school.
Let's go to middle school, dude. Are you kidding? I listen to all genres, but definitely the screamo, the emo. I had tight pants. I still have my eyeliner from high school just in case it ever comes back. Like, talk to me about that world.
So, I mean, to be fair, I do love almost any kind of music. I do not love country. I don't hate it. It's just
That's
not.
fair. That's
It's just
often
not
the
something
one
I've
that,
ever.
yeah.
Yeah. Or like super techno-y
Ooh, see,
stuff.
I was into the EDM world and going to
Yeah,
the
that's
big
never
raves.
really
Yeah.
caught me. So, but other than that, like count it as something I'd have on a playlist. But particularly like middle school, high school days, like, yeah, I mean, I went to Taste of Chaos
Okay.
tour.
There we
I
go.
was listening to The Used
That's what
and
I was
Fit
waiting for. Any of those,
and
that's what I was waiting
My
for.
Chemical Romance, and I wore
I knew it.
oh yeah, I would wear Dickies pants, but I would make sure because like when a lot of the girls were trying to wear like because it was trendy to wear
Yeah.
like severe stuff, but like I purposely bought mine like at least 2 sizes too big,
Oh, for sure.
and then at least 2 belts probably over the belt loops. Of
Oh,
course,
definite. Yeah. Come
definitely weren't
on.
in them.
That was the trend. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, lots of layers, a lot of bracelets.
No, for sure. You ever slap on that Avril tie just to like, you know what I
I
mean?
d See,
Everybody had
I
a
was like
tie.
Avril, like, I respect her more now, but at the time, I was like, "That's cute
Yeah.
stuff, right?"
Yeah.
Like, adorable.
Nobody's moshing to this. And so
Right. Yeah, but at the same time, I also like, I was a dancer, so, like, I'd also be listening to hip hop and every R&B you could think of, and I was
sick.
also a choir nurse, so, like, music for me, it can
No, I,
1 second.
I was the same way.
Yeah.
No, that's
Yeah.
very cool. I was so like when I was a kid, obviously I was a drummer. I played in rock bands and it was all kind of fostered through emo music, but
Right.
simultaneously, and I was just talking to the dad good guys about this. I was a theater major, like musical theater. And so
That makes
like we were
sense.
talking about Hairspray and Grease and a couple of my favorite like Broadway musicals. Like, girl, you slap on some Danny Zuko and Grease, and bro, I will word for word that entire arsenal of music. So I get it. You know, I get it.
Yeah. Yeah, the musicals, they run deep. I mean, it's not enough that I was a dancer, but then to be a choir nerd too,
Oh
like,
yeah. No, that's the game, dude.
it's
I'm
not
still
going
chasing
anywhere.
that high of my first time in musical theater stage. Come on, dude. Are you
Right.
kidding me? All right. Number 4, last unhealthy obsession. Talk to me about this like pretend cooking show that you have. I mean,
Um,
am I wrong or did I talk to me about
not
that,
wrong.
man? How long you been cooking? Some of the meals look quite good. You clearly have a knack for what you're doing. I watch cooking shows a lot.
Good.
And so I particularly like that you either speed up if you're cutting a whole onion or you cut the scene so that we could see what happens next. And I'm not watching you cut an onion for 4 minutes. So, like, talk to me about the birth of that, Lindsay Rios.
Okay, you're gonna make people think I, like, actually have, like, content on Instagram too, which I
Bro,
don't. It's literally
what are you talking about? You don't. I watched at least 7 different cooking shows in the span of maybe a year and a half.
so long
Okay.
ago.
I wasn't looking at the dates. Okay. I was drawn into the food.
I appreciate that. Well, because the thing is that, first of all, I tell people, like, and my Instagram's literally, like, food, 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 child, food, food,
Unhealthy obsession, child,
definition,
cooking
food,
show.
food, child,
Yeah.
like, hair. Um,
So
'cause
I
I'm obsessed
covered it. I did good. I
with
told you. I covered it. All right.
So, like, there's, like, nothing else that really ends up happening on there, and I just years ago would just post it's so funny because you look back too, I mean, just the phone quality too of the pictures were terrible then and, and all that and whatever, but the company I worked at the time, some people, they started following we follow each other on Instagram, and someone was like, "What's for dinner tonight, Linz?" And I was like, "Huh?" And they were like, "I mean,
Get it.
you're always posting great dinners, like, what's for dinner tonight?" And
Get it.
so what's the dinnergram, and so that was the birth of, like,
The
hashtag dinnergram.
dinnergram. Is that a real thing? Do people call it that?
That's the hashtag that I always put is hashtag
Dude,
dinnergrams.
I love that, man. All right.
And I thought, okay, but I just do it, just post dinner and whatever. And then people would want recipes, and then people kept asking for a blog so they could have the recipes, which is really difficult because if you're a lot of times just like a home chef, like you don't use recipes, nor do you know the measurements of what you're doing. So I started doing it for a little bit, but it's so time consuming, right? So, anyways, then especially when the pandemic happened, obviously, like we all had more time
I
in a way on
baked
our
bread
hands.
during the pandemic. It was
That's the
awful.
one thing I won't do.
But
I
yeah,
won't make salad.
girl, it was
But
so hard. I watched the YouTube video and it was
I
not
won't
good.
fucking make
It was
sourdough. I
not
just
good.
won't do it. I tried and like I was trying. I would like record it. I was gonna, and then by the fourth day, and I just was like, oh, I don't even want to look at the starter. I'm done. I don't want
Yeah.
to do this. So So then my sister, she's the cool one. She's a professional makeup artist. She used to be a
Oh, dang.
model.
Cool.
Um, she was very, very cool. And she was always just like, you got to start doing some more videos, like do cooking shows or something. And then, people will want they'll send you free shit and then, and all this stuff. And
Yeah,
I'm like,
yeah.
hey, and so I just kind of started doing it. And it was cute to do it with my kids who were so much younger at the time. My two younger ones,
Mhm.
anyways. My eldest was not interested in he liked help. He'd be like, "You want me to film?"
Yeah. Yeah.
At the time. So I liked it for just having the memories of that. Like I actually went and back and looked at one that I was doing and I was like,
No, that part's awesome. That part's awesome.
But I never really was able to do it to the level of consistency or get into it or any of that. So I just, but it was cute to have it for a bit. I mean, I thought about going back to it now that I know how to act. Well, let's take
You
this
do.
carefully. I know how to edit videos, but like
You do.
I edit videos. Let's just say it like that. And I'm making them. But the moment I got really active on LinkedIn, it's like I didn't make this decision consciously. I stopped being able to give time to like I don't even go. I mean, I go on there, but not much.
Yeah.
So my brain clearly cannot handle more than one social media platform at a time. And so I'm rarely posting anything on Instagram. And I don't know.
I think you
Now,
gotta go back, man.
but like, I guess my question is because Nick Power has just been continually been like, you got to get on TikTok.
Yeah.
And even my
And
sister was
Matt
like,
Campbell is doing his.
I saw Matt and I'm like, and someone else has said the same thing. They're like, you would kill it on TikTok, right? And I'm like, but what is it for? Right? Because the reason why I do it on LinkedIn is, first of all, I started doing it when I started my fractional business.
Mhm.
And I'm like, I have to get over the fact that I don't actually like doing this stuff or showing my face in things, which sounds wild since I'm literally dancing on LinkedIn,
Yeah.
for God's sakes. But I was like, well, this is important and I need this to work. And I know social selling and branding is important. So I started it for that reason. Then I got so beautifully surprised by the amazing connections that I was making
On LinkedIn.
via
Yeah.
LinkedIn. I mean, sometimes you meet people and you're like, well, that's unfortunate. And you get suckered into their podcast. But I
Yeah.
mean, most of the time,
That's my
it's
bad.
like it's like really
Most of
wonderful.
the time they're good people. Yeah.
Right. And then I actually start getting business, right, because of LinkedIn, right? So there's
Yeah.
just all these great things that have come from it. TikTok, I'm like, I'm not doing it for virality. Like, I'm not doing it because I want to be a social media person.
For
And so
sure.
therefore I'm like, and so same thing with Instagram where I'm just like, I can't have, because Instagram's so different too. And it'd be like the type of stuff that might, I mean, I don't know. Who knows
No,
what I'm
but
talking
look, you're on to something. And to be fair, I felt the exact same way. So there's two kind of, oh my gosh, why am I not doing this? Things that happened that have completely convinced me otherwise that being on Instagram, like I have my personal account that I've never looked at, but I have a business account now as well that I
about.
repurpose a lot of my LinkedIn stuff. And then I never had TikTok, but finally I created a TikTok where I just kind of repurposed my business stuff. Here are those two aha moments. The first
Okay.
was, remember a couple months ago when
No.
TikTok, yeah, right, for real. When TikTok just went away, there was like
Oh
the
yeah,
whole
yeah, yeah. For a whole
China
day.
US discussion.
Yeah.
I think it was Darren McKee. Somebody on the platform really got me thinking with respect to like, you need to multi-thread your socials because if for whatever reason LinkedIn goes away, this
Yeah.
directory and this
Leslie Vanette said that.
army, like, what the heck, dude? So that
Yeah,
convinced
Leslie
me.
Vanette was the only person who got me to think anything different about it because I was being a little bit rude. I mean, I didn't go and post about it,
Well, you are
but my
rude.
attitude,
So,
well, sure, but like not outwardly,
right, right.
on this topic.
Only direct.
Right. And I kept thinking like I'd be just fine if TikTok was gone. I don't really see any value in it. And I think it just makes you purposely gets you sucked in. That's how it's designed. That's why I've never
Yeah,
downloaded it. And Leslie Vanette had posted about how much it impacts her personal business. And then the same thing that maybe Darren McKee had said, right? It was like, if you are too stuck on one and this is a major part of your livelihood, you're screwed,
pretty much.
So it didn't make me want to get a TikTok. It made me respect why people were so upset about it maybe going away in a flash.
Yeah. So that was a huge driver for me. And then the second, and this wasn't from TikTok because I'm still kind of rubbish at TikTok, but on Instagram, dude, I have gotten like 2 business sales for my debt collection, like Cedar, from the most unsuspecting subjects. Like I didn't even know they followed me. There's no reason. I don't know you, but you get that DM and they're, hey, bro, you work in financial services? Like, actually, I have a quick question. And it stemmed from me
There
just
you
kind of
go.
being goofy on Instagram. And so with those two things combined, I was like, C-Dub, you gotta just do it. You gotta try. So I fully support anybody like Matt's jumping on to TikTok and doing his like
Yep.
30-day, 60-day hike.
Challenge.
I
He's
respect
gonna
it.
kill it.
He's
They're
gonna
gonna
kill it. He's gonna
TikTok's
kill it.
gonna love him.
They really will. I texted him this morning because the post that he made today just blew up. And it was one of those posts that you could tell zero thought went into it. He knew he had to
Right.
post. It wasn't even him. He posts some like silly sales meme, but it was a picture of Travis and Taylor and their engagement. Like, this is what
Yeah.
booking a meeting on the first call is like. And it shows a picture of them kissing. And TikTok obviously eats that
Eat
shit
that up.
up, dude. So, yeah, man, completely different style content, way different style demographic. But I am wholly convinced that if there is business to be won and opportunities to be made, they're going to come at every corner of the internet. So, with that said, I multi-thread my socials.
Yeah. Maybe that's what it is that I just would need to make a business one and just
Well, I mean, keep the cooking show for sure. Keep the, because look, even on my Instagram, some of my highest performing posts have nothing to do. Like, I talk about, hey, here's debt collection tip of the day. Like, those posts are rubbish. But the moments I do, like, an in my past life, like, hey, I was in this
right.
commercial, look at what I found.
Well, I mean, clearly for people who if they've not ever seen my delusion that I put onto LinkedIn, I mean, a lot of it absolutely has nothing to do with work.
Yeah, but that's the stuff that hits.
I know that's the stuff people are like, "Oh, cool, like a
Yeah.
human being. I really appreciate this." So, that was the way that I was able to continue being on LinkedIn because I was like there was a guy that I had talked to, he was I think a prospect at one of the I don't remember what startup I was at the time, and he was hilarious, and he put on his I don't remember if it was in his bio, I think it was in his bio. I don't think maybe he actually put it on his LinkedIn, like his education that he went to Hogwarts.
Dang, what a great
Like, it was
plug.
so good, but his entire profile wasn't all jokes, so it was so good that he had something in there. I think that's how it happened. I think I saw it because I was doing, like, a show me, me, type of
Yeah,
outreach or
yeah.
something, and was like, "Hogwarts, huh?" And he was like, "You caught that," and, it just that was, like, where I was like, "So you can be a little ridiculous on here." Like, in fact, I like it, and then it was the only way I was able to get myself to not feel like I was taking myself too seriously when I started being on there
Yeah.
and have some fun because it's way more fun now in the last 2
Oh, dude,
years.
did LinkedIn change like a 180 of the amount of weirdos and like some people are obviously crossing the line, like, but if you find that pocket of like humor, humanization, value in what you talk about, bro, LinkedIn is like, it has created so many opportunities, but you got to find that blend so that you can remain a human
Yeah.
being as well, for sure.
Yeah, you do have to find the blend, and I think, like, I, was responding to a comment of one of my friend, Annabelle Pickens, genuinely
I know
asking
Annabelle Pickens.
about
She's cool. Yeah.
good, I know, about, like, cell phones for 10-year-olds,
I saw that
and
post. Yes.
so, being that we've had a child go through those ages way way past them already, and then now we've got Dom who's 11, um, I I answer because she's asking,
Yeah,
right?
and
She's
if I
asking,
remember
"What do you"
correctly, you were no way is Dom getting a cell phone unless it's like a brick Nokia and it's only like for going to school. Is that what I read correctly?
So we gave one to our eldest, we gave him a brick Nokia. This was years ago because he's 25 now. So,
Okay,
like,
he's got a phone,
he
probably.
yeah, he can buy it. He buys his own. Um, and we did it because he was walking to and from middle school. It was very close, but it
Hmm.
was on his own, and I mean, we're still both working parents, but the jobs we had at the time too, like, he had to walk also.
Yeah,
And so, obviously, we had the cell phone for those reasons, and also because, he's technically my stepson, and so he would see his mom some weekends, and it's our way of
yeah. It's just,
checking
I
in.
mean, makes sense. Makes
Makes
sense.
sense, right? But it was like I said, it was a brick phone, right? It wasn't a smartphone, and we had rules about when he,
Hmm.
9 o'clock or on the island, whatever. And then, about 14 years later, they have these watches for kids
Hmm.
that you can right? That can make sure you only
Like
dial
the
and call
Inspector Gadget watch, like do do do.
totally. Yeah,
Come on.
it actually works,
Yeah.
like, not like the toy ones we
No,
had.
exactly.
Or there's even cell phones that you can do, I guess, that do the same thing. So that's what we're doing for Dom now because what I'd like to do is give him more freedom in this age, but with, being able to communicate with him.
Yeah.
Obviously, when I was his age, there was no such thing.
You maybe had a like I had a pager before a cell phone and I was begging my parents for a pager. I got one in the 8th grade. I didn't
I
forget how
never
old you
got a
are.
yeah, I don't know, but I did have one of those really weird PDA things that got really popular for a bit.
Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah.
But I never really used it because what the hell was I gonna use it for?
Yeah.
Anyways, but yeah, like if your mom tells you I'm gonna pick you up at this time at this place, you have to go there. And then if she's not there, you just wait
Wait. Yeah. No, for
forever,
sure. For
right?
sure.
Nowadays, I'm like, it's different. And as a parent, you're like, oh my God, I have to be able to communicate with him. And I've already been feeling it with him going to middle school and the picking anyways.
Mhm.
So this is the most ridiculously long story, which I
No,
do.
bring it. That's what we're here for.
But that was my response to her, right? I talk about my kids on LinkedIn, and I know that some people don't want to talk about them or put their pictures, and
Mhm.
I totally get why, and
Me
I
too.
respect. I use their first names. They are characters in my stories,
Yeah.
like you know. Um, and I've posted pictures of them, like their first day of school or whatever.
No,
But
for sure. I have to. I'm on that.
that's
You don't
that's my
overly
limit.
inundate though. Like it's not, especially like I'm in that dad good community, and there's some that
Right.
go hard in the paint and always post it. And to be fair, I love that. I love seeing other kids,
Yeah, I personally love it, but I know there are a lot
but
of
I
people
get
who
it.
feel really worried about it from a security standpoint with their kids being on the internet and things
Yeah.
like that. And so I'm like, well, you know, I think there's just choices you make as a parent, and I'm comfortable having them on there just like they're on the school Instagram page from time
Mhm.
to time, things like that. But maybe one day I'll change my mind. All that to be said, it's always a third degree
Yeah.
white man.
That's us.
It just always
That's
is.
us.
Like, I don't know why, but it's always that, and just comes in and just says first of all, he's not tries, he just I think this is literally how he just speaks, but he just used a bunch of, like, fancy words, and I'm like, We don't need these fancy words."
Yeah.
To say, this is a little not tangential, but, like, basically, like, it's neither here nor there now because it's a little late, but you put way too much information about your children in this post. Yeah, and I was like,
Huh. Are you
"Where did you
are you talking to me?
from?" And whenever I get comments like that on LinkedIn, I always just go, "Okie dokie,"
Yeah.
because I'm like, "Okay."
No, it's so easy to turn into that keyboard warrior,
Yeah.
but yeah, I've had to. Okay, bro. Hey, very cool thought. Thanks for your input.
Yeah, I kind of have, like, my own rules about how I'll do that type of stuff, and so if it's really with me, like, it's, like, at me, I'm very, like, "Okie dokie, whatever you
Yeah.
say," kinda stuff, which really pisses off men like that
No, for
too.
sure. Kill him with kindness.
Men like that hate me, but when it's someone maybe coming after a friend, being really unkind or out of pocket, that's the only time I'll ever
That's
maybe
gloves are off.
gloves are off in a sense,
Cool.
but if it's a person who will do like who's always going to just say something back just to do it or whatever, then there's just
Yeah. No, it's just no, it's not worth any of your energy.
no.
I feel you.
The guy ended up realizing that it probably wasn't a great comment.
Mhm.
So he messaged me, emailed me or whatever with the whole thing, and he's like, "I'm deleting my comment. I don't wanna shame anybody,
Dang.
but" and
What?
it's his job, like, literally his, like, he, like, works in, like, security for, like,
Oh,
all that kinda stuff. So, like, here's the thing, and I actually ended up, chatting with Annabelle about it a little bit more, and I'm like, "Look, maybe I am, more naive than I should be about that stuff." Like, I'm not saying, like I wasn't irritated because he disagreed with me talking about my children. The way in which it was done was crap,
yeah.
and I didn't ask you. I don't even know who you are, right? Like, she asked me for advice, all of us in her network, I'm responding, but I didn't ask you for
Yeah.
your
Anybody else have any thoughts on this opinion that I just shared?
so, like, it was like, I'm like, that was where I was like and then obviously the delivery was horrific, but then he, just again, kind of more fancy words, but it was like, "I've seen your stuff. It's very engaging. I know you're a loving mother, maybe just consider signing your children up for things like LifeLock or whatever if you haven't, and it's just hard for me. This is the nature of my job." Da, 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 da,
Mhm.
da. And I'm like, and in my head, I'm just like, okay. Like, I appreciate a person who we can make mistakes. We're allowed to make mistakes
Yeah.
or make a decision where we go, maybe I didn't really like it. But I happened to be talking, I was at Pure Bar. I go to Pure Bar like 3 or 4 times a week, and I laughed because I was looking at my phone, and I, like, laughed because I saw it, and she was like, "What?" And then I told her the thing. She goes, "Well, I guess at least he apologized." I was like, "That's not an apology."
Yeah.
He didn't say, "I'm sorry that I commented in the way I
I'm
did."
sorry that your views are the way that they are and
Right,
they're
like,
wrong.
he justified his actions. That's not how apologies work, but I appreciate that he decided that wasn't the way I wanna do it, and I'm gonna take it down, but I don't need to continue having a conversation.
Okay.
So it's interesting to see, like, when we talk about when some people get a little, I'm like, everyone's going to have their own ways of how they want to show up on social media or LinkedIn.
Mm-hmm.
And I always tell people you should just decide kind of when, if, when you start being active, like what you want your own personal kind of code of conduct to be.
Yeah.
And for me, it just comes down to like, if anyone is unkind, if you are purposefully unkind, that's open season
Yeah.
for people
No,
to call
then
you.
you're not in the club anymore, for sure.
But if you want to comment on people's parenting, religion, sexual orientation, morale, like
Yeah. No, I'm
for
with you.
me,
Yeah, yeah.
it's a no-no.
Those are
So
absolute
like,
no-nos. Yeah.
we don't do that here. So that's my kind of like guiding.
No, I dig that. I dig that, man. And look, to be fair, like and I'm sure you come across people that you disagree with professionally all the time. And those are some
Yeah,
of
like
my,
you.
yeah, exactly. That's what I mean. Those are some of my favorite conversations. When you have
Yeah.
like two intellectual minds debating on like, oh, well, shoot, I see your point. But like that stuff is brilliant. But it's just people who don't know how to disagree and they have to revert to like, you're wrong, I'm right, you suck, I'm awesome. Like I just
Yeah.
ain't nobody got time for that. And so
Yep. They want to be punchable.
yeah,
I'm big, you're little, and I'm right and you're
no,
wrong.
exactly. Come on, there's a musical for you. Are you kidding? Let's
Yeah.
go.
So I know people don't know how to deal with, like you said, disagreement, or if someone wants to potentially say something a little bit more direct or things like that. They don't. Conflict is something that most people really struggle with. Either they like it a lot, they don't like it, they don't know how to
No,
handle it,
I feel
whatever.
you. I
So
feel you.
yeah, but I just feel like when people love to just share opinions that are, you're like, you said that out loud.
Yeah. Or like like out of left field, like you said, the first thing you said is normally it's a third connection, and it's like, bro, this is a taco burrito conversation, like nachos, baby. Like,
Right.
kick it.
Right. I know it's social media. Like, I know
Yeah.
that it's out there. I know that technically, like, but one thing I say a lot of times when someone seems out of pocket, but I'm almost trying to give them a second chance, I'll be like, what an interesting way to join the conversation.
I like that. I like
Right.
that.
Because if I can get someone to think, because someone can do this to me, although I'm really thoughtful about how I
Yeah.
comment on them. But like, if
Are you?
someone, yep. But I mean, like, if someone could maybe be given a statement back to them that makes them go like, "Ooh, shoot." And then the tonality is so important, and we don't get that in
No, for
comments.
sure.
So, I try to give, like, the benefit of the doubt version, right? Kinda the same thing as when now my second ki my middle kid, so I've done this the second time I go through it, where puberty's starting and they start saying things, and you're like, "You wanna try that again?"
Yeah, dude, my
And they're
daughter is
like,
6 and she's already got
"Wow."
those little buzzes. But
Yeah.
girls, I feel like they get there and they're mean a lot faster. And so 6 is this girl's pocket right now, dude.
Yeah,
She's
that
mean.
tracks a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, my youngest though, Zay, he's been mean since the moment he was born.
Okay. Okay.
So
Hey, there's some of those great
there's
people. Love them. You the best,
love him.
boo. But bro, you cutthroat, man.
He is like he's so mean. Like I have compilations. I'll send you one of um all these stages of him, like just even young, where you're like, God, he's such an asshole.
Yeah,
Like,
bro. Like, come on,
what's
dude.
wrong with you?
I'm putting food on the table every night. How you about
God,
to
he's
don't bite the hand, homie?
cute. He's so cute. It's insane. It's like it's not good because he's 7 now and he's still so cute.
Yeah. Dang. That'll
It's
get you,
so
man.
bad.
That'll
Yeah,
get you.
it really does. Like one of my best friends,
That's
she's
so
got 4
funny.
kids, and her youngest was the same way. She told me from like day one when I started telling her like how Isaiah's personality was, and she was like, "That was so bad
It's
because
brutal.
it's brutal. You let them get away with stuff because they're just so freaking cute." And I'm
Yeah.
just,
Ah, well, good for him.
I
Good for you,
know,
Z. Come on.
I
Come on.
know. You
Go
gotta,
get
we're
go
all
get
we
what's
all live
yours,
in
my
a different
boy.
world. Yeah, like we all
um
know it.
That's hilarious. All right. We got like 15 minutes. Dude, we did straight 40 minutes of banter. That's why I wanted to have you on this podcast. We all got to learn a little bit more about Lindsay Rios, but I wanted to, this is a strong pivot, and you're not going to like this direction, but gosh, and here I go with this is a compliment. Don't, all right, just fly past it real quick.
No,
But
So actually, I feel like I need to address something really quick
Oh, gosh.
because people always think that I'm also Latina because of my last name, and then I'm racially ambiguous looking and all that. But my husband is the one who's Puerto Rican,
Okay.
and I am not Latina. I am Asian. So now this comment will make
I wouldn't have guessed that. Wow.
yeah, because you'll kind of see whatever
No,
starts.
there's sparks. There's sparks now that you say it.
But now that I've told you that, I'm an Asian woman, so I do terrible with comments.
Yeah, I didn't want to take it there. I was gonna say you probably didn't get complimented a lot growing up. I know.
Which is here's the funny thing. I actually did. Like my parents, well, my mom's the one who's Chinese. Like, well, yes, she still complimented us growing up a lot. Like, it's not the same thing as a lot of other like people, but still, there's just certain things that run deep in genetics. Like, I don't know how else to explain it.
Yeah,
So, all that to be said, yeah. Like, I don't know. Let's not feelings gross. Let's not. Let's shove those back in. Compliments
I vibe with that.
because it's not just that like, but that I'm a woman, and then we get taught all
True.
like our lives, right? Like, don't tell me I'm pretty, I'll just tell you you're pretty. So I'm like, it's like double whammy, right? So I'm
Yeah.
just like compliment. I'm like brace myself. I'm like, okay,
All right. I will casually and non-complimentary slip into this next question that I have for you, and then we could bring it home and we will see you on the other side. And so the reason outside of your silliness, our banter, that I wanted to come and rap with you is look, I used to coach women's college soccer. I feel like I've always been an advocate for women just absolutely killing it. I've seen the fly on the wall of how much females, particularly in the corporate world, have to go through to like
mm,
get what's theirs, earn the respect. And to be fair, you all have to do a lot more than men in this space. And that sucks, dude. So, with that being said, I haven't complimented you yet. You are a revenue killer. You've got tremendous experience in the go to market, the GTM world. Obviously, right now, you're operating as a fractional CRO. You've helped tons of companies. Right now, I think you're with PowerCord. You were ranked within the top 100 powerful women in sales. Like, that's ridiculous. And so, this is the real meat of the interview is why don't you take us home and just kind of explaining how you entered that world, kind of your mind frame through that growth? Because, like, dude, you're a murderer now. And it's hard to be a murderer in this space, and you deserve a seat at the table. And I'm sure that that was a hell of a journey to finally get to where you are now. So why don't you talk a little bit about me getting to sit down with one of 100 of the most powerful women in sales? That
look,
was kind of a compliment. I'm so sorry. I didn't know any other way to phrase it. Continue.
well, I told myself this year I was going to just work on saying thank you, right? That's what you're
Wow, that was a
supposed to
good
do.
start, Lindsay. I never heard you say that before.
You won't hear me say you're right though. No. Okay. Other people maybe. My poor husband. Okay. So I really appreciate though everything you just said. Because we don't have a lot of that discussion out there. And it's actually part of why I also really love LinkedIn. It's something I talk about a lot, right? But I mean, the funny thing is like my normal or my initial like trajectory was going to be becoming a doctor. No, but I genuinely wanted to be a neurologist,
Okay.
pediatric neurologist, because
She can't stop, folks. Forgive her. She just can't stop. If it's out there for the taking, she will take it.
but I've suffered from chronic migraine since I was 3. So that was my initial desire was to be a pediatric neurologist. And I always joke, I'm like, yeah, if I work at a company or something and we like actually IPO or whatever, which can happen, I'm gonna go to med school. I'm gonna go do it.
That
Because
was the plan.
part of the reason why I didn't want to end up continuing the journey was like the insane debt, that was gonna accrue and all
Yeah.
that. So speaking of that, when I was in between finishing my initial pre-med and like bachelor's degree, I was like, I'm not really like trying to jump right into med school and apply for that or whatever. I hadn't done it in the last year of college. And I was actually considering PA school instead, which is really great
Mm.
nowadays. Time it was still a little bit like, what is that? My dad's like, well, why don't you just work for like a year or 6 months and then figure it out, kind of a gap year, if you will. And I was like, sure, but what? And my dad worked at the BMW dealership near home. And he's like, "Come slang some cars, right?" And I'm like, okay,
Dang, how about that?
yeah. Because I was definitely got that from my dad. I love cars and total beamer heads in the household anyways that it was. So, like, I was like, "Yeah, that sounds cool." So, he's like, "Yeah, like, they'll totally hire you." So, I, interviewed and they hired me and I sold cars for some years. So, that's how I got into sales. I actually left and went back to do post-bac work, worked in a doctor's office, all that, and I'm glad because when I left again that path, I really knew that time. I was like, I don't this is great. I don't wanna do this enough to take that trajectory in life."
Yeah.
I had met my husband at the dealership.
Dang.
Yeah, and, like, then we had our eldest, like, with the like I said, he's actually my stepson technically, but we were all together, and I'm like, "I don't wanna do that path. I wanna be with my family, and I wanna go back to making money."
Yeah.
So I went back to the dealership, continued that career path, but, automotive world is horrific.
No, for sure. For sure. But that dude, selling cars sounds like the ultimate boot camp for somebody who wants to get into sales and like learn what works for you. And so
Yeah,
that's
if
probably
you really
extremely valuable.
stick with it. Yeah. I mean, like, there are a lot of people I've met and so like, "Oh, yeah, I sold cars for, like, 3 months." And I'm like, "Yeah, that doesn't count."
Yeah.
Like, not saying it didn't count, but I'm saying, like, totally fine that you decided not for you because it's just not good, but you're not going to, like, gain anything
Yeah. Yeah.
from it. So yeah, I mean, like, it was a really great foundation, obviously, for a lot of things that I honestly didn't feel like I even gave enough credit or thought until the last, like, year or so. I always just kinda chalked it up to, like, yeah, a lot of grit, a lot of tenacity, I got from it, but not as much about the actual sales skill set that I had gained, while being there. But when I was pregnant with Dom, the 11-year-old, it was like, I gotta get out of here.
Hmm.
Like, it's literally not gonna work. There's no end time to when you get to leave a dealership.
Yeah.
It's
When
not
like, dude, you're on your feet all day. I'm sure you're standing in hot parking lots, like,
now you're getting in
doing
the
like
cars
just
and
the
you're
whole
moving. Yeah.
shtick sounds awful, but it's a great boot camp.
Yeah, I mean, that plus, like, you can't be like, "Yo, daycare, I'm probably not off till 9:30 PM, so
Yeah.
you good?" Like, doesn't work like that. So, well, that and you work weekends and holidays. I never got to see Jacob's, like, baseball games or, there was no, "You guys wanna come over for a barbecue? Like, have fun
Hmm.
'cause I'll be at work."
Dang, man.
So, I was trying to get into tech. My best friend was in tech, of course, and the problem is that was back when companies were really snobby about being in software sales for a while, and you can't just pop over and be an AE, and I'm like, "But why not?"
Yeah. Right.
So I was interviewing, I remember, like, for, like, SDR roles, and this was when most places were like, "Yeah, come into the city," and I'm like,
Mm.
"I can't come to the city. Like, that's not gonna work."
Yeah.
I didn't have an issue being an SDR. It was the fact that the income wasn't gonna work for us. I'm like, we just added another human being into this household.
Yeah, that's the cost of an annual SDR just by himself.
In the case people weren't aware, like,
Yeah.
babies are really expensive, so I got really lucky, and there was actually a tech company, a startup that was literally, like, in this city and where I live, and my sales manager's wife was working there.
Mm.
So I know that would not have even talked to me if she hadn't referred me strongly. But even so, I remember I'm talking to the head recruiter, and she was like trying to say, "Oh, well, maybe you'd be better for our renewals manager role, but we just filled it."
Mm.
And I was like, "Oh, no, 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 no." And so I don't remember verbatim what I said, but I basically countered it. And so then by the end of the call, she was like, "I was really trying to break up with you, but I really am excited. Like, you really need to come in,
Let's
and interview
go.
for the role." And I was just like, "Great." So I went in and they did it where you'd meet with four of the sales leaders and it was just back to back half an hour each one. And then they would make a decision, you know? So the director of sales, I remember being like, "We use this thing called Salesforce. I know you come from like selling cars." I'm like, "Are you kidding me with that?" Right.
Yeah.
But then I think the last or second to last manager that came in, he immediately sees me and he's like, "I know you." And I'm like, "I have a really good well,
It was that damn cooking show, wasn't it?
yeah, no. That would be hilarious. Luckily, it was that was the company where I started actually doing it, and then people would go, "What's for dinner?" But I'm, like, thinking, "Oh god, like, I don't know who this person is at all." And then he goes, "You were the best car salesperson that my wife and I ever
Dang.
worked with." And I panicked still because I remember every single person I sold a car to. And so I'm like, "You did not buy a car from me." So this did not seem to bode well. And he goes, "We were literally gonna buy that Mini from you, and then we found out the next day we were pregnant." And it was their second child, so they were like, "We're not
Okay,
putting it
yeah,
in."
you got a minivan up.
And I was like, "Oh." And I thought, like, "This job's mine now,"
Yeah,
right? Like, I
yeah,
was, like, feeling
let's
great.
go.
Yeah, so I got there, I started as a senior AE there, and then, it was 5 years, it was a really great company, and I look back and I'd had this post that I did some time ago. It was the one that took off the most for me, which I love because it's about a topic I'm so passionate about, which is me just basically telling people, like, "You deserve to love your job." And I I was lucky. Like, I got really lucky that that's what happened for me, that I got that opportunity because it was a great company. And, I also learned my passion for the whole go to market
Mhm.
from there because by the time I left there, I was now like leading the whole like sales floor
Yeah, you
and
had, like, a CV where now it's like, "Hey, wait a minute, there's some."
yeah, and I was like, "Ooh, I like this. This is what I
Yeah,
wanna keep doing
yeah,
here."
man.
And then, each place I've gone, like but at the time, like, all I wanted was to not work on the weekends and commute to San Francisco,
I'm a man of simple needs, I just don't wanna work on the
right?
weekend, yeah.
And I got blessed to go there, like, so then you take that though, right? And then you get intentional about every step of the way.
Mhm.
And so, as I continued and I got into executive leadership, and I remember one of my first time I was a head of sales, the CEO and founder said, "I'm only hiring a woman for this role." And I was like, "Well, you have my attention."
Yeah. I
Like,
actually really like that take.
I really loved it. Yeah, because you are allowed to do that when you're building your company from scratch,
Yeah.
Like, you can't do that once you're, like, later and then you have to
No,
give
for
equal.
sure, like, you can't be a public company and on the, the LinkedIn job post, you're like, "Women only, must have purple tips in their
Yeah,
hair,"
like,
like,
legally, we can't do that. Even someone asked me, was he legally allowed to say that?" I'm like,
I don't
"He could
know,
do
but
whatever
this
he
guy was giving
wants."
me a shot. I'm not gonna bring that up. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Let's
So,
go.
I was just like, "Okay," and there was lots of other reasons why I wanted that role, but, like, there are people that I have advocated for me to help keep me at that table that I'm very appreciative of, and it's become a thing too where it's like, that's one of my non-negotiables when I work with companies too, is that sort of mindset. Doing something about it,
Yeah.
because you can say all you want that you value diversity and you'd like to do it, but then you don't but your actions,
No,
say
for sure.
otherwise.
For sure.
So, but yeah, I mean, I think also I think I've realized how much my mom has been a huge part of why I turned out the way I am about I mean, for a lot of reasons, but I mean, like,
The work ethic side
the
and the
woman part, right?
vision,
Like,
yeah.
taught her daughters to fucking kick ass, take names, like,
God, I love that.
like, don't worry, like, and my poor dad.
Was it only girls? Do you only have
Yeah,
sisters?
he was
Okay.
yeah, so, like, we just had my sister, my mom, and when we got, like, our first dog, he was like, "We're getting a boy
It
dog,"
has to be. That's so funny.
whatever you want. But, but she just really taught us, like, don't take shit from anyone, especially boys and, and all this stuff, and my dad told me I'm trying to think. So let's say, my dad passed, like, how was let's say, so 8 years ago. Doesn't matter. Yeah, 8 years ago. So I'm trying to think, like, I think it was, like, 6 months before he had passed, we were talking, and you start having conversations
Yeah.
that you maybe didn't have. And he was like, "Yeah, I let your mom just call all the shots, like, when you guys were growing up. Like, there were things that I remember being like, I don't think that we're gonna let them do that, like,
Yeah.
or what?" And I just figured your mom is a woman and I'm not.
Mhm.
So she knew best is what I thought. And, I was like, "Oh,
That's
wow."
so
Like,
powerful, man.
right? But I was also surprised I never knew that there were things that maybe we were allowed to do that he was like,
Yeah,
"Good."
and I can only imagine society at that time did not operate with that I mean, shit, we still don't really
We still
operate
don't,
with
but
that,
even more,
but even
even
back
more.
it was like, "Dude,
How old do you think I am?
where's the
Stop.
apron?" Honestly, don't ask me. I couldn't even give a rough estimate. I know you're older than me, all right? I know you're older
That's
than me.
because as Asians, I could be
That's
50.
that is true. That's
Yeah.
true. Shit.
That's people always go when I say, like, the ages of my kids and this and that, and they're just like, What?"
That
And I'm
is
just like,
funny.
"Yep,
Well, you
don't
did
stress."
tell me that your oldest son is 25, so
Mhm.
I can use that as one of my building blocks.
You can get
So
some friends of
unless
us.
you had him when you were 10, we are not the same age.
We are not the
That's
same
as
age.
far as my math has gone so far.
Yeah, yeah. But anyways, all to be said, My sister and I were incredibly boring. We didn't do anything. I was never late for curfew. Very, very, very boring, very well behaved.
Dang.
So there that's also a little bit why I was like, what is it that we ever even did, right? But
Yeah.
boy, we're
Yeah,
around a
yeah.
lot. But he also ended up saying that he wasn't worried about my sister and I so much for a lot of those things because he knew that with a lot of my mom's kind of guidance too, but they raised us to be like, don't fuck with me.
Yeah.
And so, and you're raising a daughter, right? Like I didn't get to have any of those, but I would have gone the same route where I'd be like, I'm just gonna make sure I raise my daughters in a way that can have that sort of mentality.
Mhm.
Be aware, be cautious. Unfortunately, we have to worry about those things, but like some stuff like that. And I was going to, I think, into the city for something years ago, and I was going to take BART, which I won't do now, but at the time, still, and my husband was a little bit like, he just he didn't love it.
Yeah.
And especially because he grew up in like Oakland and stuff like that, very different area than I did. So for him, he's really seen a lot of things. And I'm like, um, I understand why you feel the way you do, but I'm not worried personally. And he's just kind of like, well, that seemed a little naive. I think that was his feeling. He didn't say
Yeah.
those things. But I'm like, I don't think you realize like how I've been raised. Like horrible things happen to humans.
Mhm.
Specifically, I'm talking about women though for a moment. And you can do all the right things and they can still happen. I understand that. But there's also a certain way that you can not invite certain opportunities
Yeah.
that will get you pretty far a lot of times.
For
And
sure.
like I was just my own like, I need you to understand that I operate in that way. And so I'm doing all the things that I could be doing essentially like to make sure I don't end up in a scenario that I don't want to be in. I respect that my husband still to this day is always a little bit like, I don't like it when my wife maybe is in a dangerous place by herself or whatever it
Yeah.
might be. But I think like just
That's
all
a
of that,
beautiful thought though, as
yeah,
well. Like
it's
you don't
good.
take
I'm
that
glad.
from
It's not like, well,
yeah.
good luck. Yeah.
The 2 tier is like, "Hey, I'm not stoked on where my wife is going, but at the same time, I know she can handle her shit." And so,
Right.
like, it's 2 peg, but it is a beautiful
All that
thing.
could be said. I say that a lot to come back to the kind of the big thing that you're asking about, where it's like, I've been really, really lucky to have the opportunities I have. Yes, as a woman, you tend to talk a lot louder. And, there were moments I've had where it was like, oh, well, she's being really aggressive. And then it's like, no one's ever called me that in my life.
Girl, please.
Oh, you don't like it because you're a man and I'm a woman and I'm trying to hold you accountable.
Yeah.
Things like that. But, like, I think for women that I mean, just working, you don't need to be in sales specifically at all. But, like, when you can maybe have the mindset of how I was given kind of growing up, I think it's a huge part of, like, helping you. You're gonna get your seat at the table yourself, and then you're lucky enough to surround yourself with people who also advocate for you too.
Yeah.
I think that's a huge thing to focus on as a woman in this world because it kind of becomes this thing where it's like I just don't know any different.
But
Like I
that's
don't
such a beautiful thing. That's such a beautiful thing. And like my hope for my daughters is that exact same where they don't know any different. And, like I think the biggest takeaway, and then we could wrap it up, that I got even from like, look, dude, you deserve a seat at the table. I know that we talk shit to each other. It's more filled with banter than it is with value. But I think that you are such a light of an example that, look, you can be a human being. You can have your own shitty Instagram cooking show, but you could also demand respect and earn and deserve that seat at the table. And I think that that's so awesome. It's such an example for younger female sales professionals that are on the platform. It's an example for your kids growing up and how they're going to treat their girlfriends, going like, look, dude, girls are badass. Like girls could do anything. And that to me is the world that I want to live in. And it is a compliment, and I'll just give it to you straight out. But
Oh god.
you are an example of the direction that we need to be heading in terms of you owning not just a seat at the table, 100 powerful women in sales, fractional CR. Like you deserve and earned your seat at the fucking head of the table, Lindsay Rios. And so with that, you don't even have to say thank you. I know it makes you feel uncomfortable, with that being said, thank you for popping on Mutual Connections with me. The heart of this show is my silly tagline is connecting beyond the post. And when
Oh,
we look at some of the topics of conversation, from your very unhealthy obsessions to the different characters and personalities that we see on LinkedIn, all the way to the grind and rise to your spot at the head of the table, I appreciate you, dude. I look up to you. I think that you're doing a hell of a job, and I'm just excited to see what happens next in the life of Lindsay Rios. So thank you for coming and hanging out with me.
ugh,
I know, dude, that was a
I love
lot.
you
I'm
so
so
much.
sorry. I'm
Oh,
sorry.
it makes it hard to be mean to you when you're so nice.
I'll catch you in the DMs. Earlier in the week, I just flipped you off.
That was fucking
It wasn't
hilarious.
prompted. We didn't even have a conversation. You're like, do you need
No.
anything? I was like, no. You're like, okay, very good.
Okay.
Then got it.
Yeah, but I remember, I literally, I just see it, and I really thought you were, going like this,
Yeah.
right? To be like,
No,
"Hello,"
no.
following up on maybe something, and I'm like, "I'm the last one who said
Just
something."
like a
And
quick go
then
fuck
I
yourself.
realized, I was like, "Oh, you're like," and
Yeah.
then I literally actually laughed out loud. It was hilarious.
So that's the game. Hell yeah, Lindsay. Thank you for popping on with me. I appreciate you. I'm excited to see what's next. And we'll see you on the next one, man.
If you're lucky.
Dude, it's happening. Shut up. All right. Have a good one. Thanks everyone for tuning in. We'll see you guys on the next one.
Bye.